Namaste. Good afternoon, lovely ladies. It's good to see you all this afternoon. A very warm welcome to all of you, and I call the meeting to order. I request Ms. Shobha Bansal to render a prayer and a bhajan.
Hello everyone. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. No prayer. राम नाम अति मीठा है, कोई गा के देख ले। राम नाम अति मीठा है, कोई गा के देख ले। आ जाते हैं राम कोई बुला के देख ले। राम नाम अति मीठा है। बन भगवान का मंदिर है, यहाँ मैल न आने देना। हीरा जन्म अनमोल मिला, इसे व्यर्थ गंवाना देना। अपने मन मंदिर में ज्योत जला कर देख ले। अपने मन मंदिर में ज्योत जला कर देख ले। आ जाते हैं राम कोई बुला कर देख ले। राम नाम अति मीठा है। आधी नाम पे आ जाते हैं, हो कोई बुलाने वाला। आधी नाम पे आ जाते हैं, हो कोई बुलाने वाला। बिक जाते हैं राम हो कोई मोल चुकाने वाला। कोई शबरी झूठे बेर खिला कर देख ले। आ जाते हैं राम कोई बुला कर देख ले। राम नाम अति मीठा है। जिस घर में अंधकार वहाँ मेहमान कहाँ से आते। जिस मन में अभिमान वहाँ भगवान कहाँ से आते। जिस घर में अंधकार वहाँ मेहमान कहाँ से आते। जिस मन में अभिमान भरा भगवान कहाँ से आते। शीश झुके हरि मिले, शीश झुके हरि मिलते हैं, झुका कर देख ले। आ जाते हैं राम कोई बुला कर देख ले। राम नाम अति मीठा है, कोई गा कर देख ले। आ जाते हैं राम कोई बुला कर देख ले। राम नाम अति मीठा है। Thank you.
Thank you, Shobhaji. It was a very mesmerizing bhajan.
Thank you.
Now, our Sanskriti President, Ms. Usha Bhagya, will address all of us.
Namaste to all of you. Good afternoon, the founders, coordinators, our chief guest speaker, Sona Chatwani, guests and members. Before I give a small speech, Let me clarify one point. Many members had rung me up and had requested that we should not have a virtual meeting, we should have an actual meeting. But ladies, please, keeping in mind the safety of the members, we will continue with the virtual meeting till the pandemic is totally cleared. So I really beg all of you and request, please, let's continue with the virtual meeting. So today's topic is a very interesting topic for the ladies. We all are very house proud. We all like to have a stylish home. And sometimes what happens, we think we have decorated house very well, but when a designer comes and she'll find so many faults because we'll not be matching the curtains, the furnitures. Sometimes you buy an expensive, exotic painting and you place it, it looks very gorgeous. But when you see the paint below painting, the furnitures, it may not match. So today we have a very eminent Sona Chatwal, very eminent designer. She's going to give us she's going to guide us, she'll give us tips, she'll let us know how to make our house beautiful with proper accessories. So ladies, I will not take much of your time. Please, all of you, save your date, 15th of December for our next program. So I'll not take much of time. So let's all visit each other's house after the pandemic to see how beautiful our house look and how stylish look after Sona's guidelines, Sona's speech. Thank you very much. Over to you, Vandana.
I request Sanskriti Secretary Ms. Mansi Kankaria to present her minutes for the last meeting.
Good afternoon, everybody. Well, there's a saying, all's well that ends well. And where there's a will, there's a way. Nothing can stop the spirit of the Sanskriti women dancing to the tunes of Garba. And so was our last meeting, fantastic and fantabulous, with women dancing even in the virtual world, in the space and convenience of their own homes. That's it, waiting for the pandemic to get over so that we can continue meeting and giving good news to all of you all. Over to you, Vandana.
Over to Ms. Kavita Bhatia to introduce our guest speaker for the day.
Good afternoon, members. Good afternoon, members. It is my pleasure to introduce our chief guest for today, interior designer Ms. Sona Chatwani, principal designer and the creative force behind her firm, SC Design Studio. Ms. Chatwani is an alumni of the Queensland College of Arts, Griffith University, Australia. Along with a keen interest in designing and sports, she is a crusader for spreading awareness against child labor. She has had many prestigious roles, such as chairing the Indian Institute of Interior Designers Hyderabad Regional Chapter from 2014 to 17.
I will continue.
Yeah, you please continue.
I'm sorry,
I think network is.
Yeah, okay. Ms. Chatwani is an alumni of the Queensland College of Arts, Griffith University, Australia. Along with a keen interest in designing and sports, she's a crusader for spreading awareness against child labor. She has held many prestigious roles, such as chairing the Indian Institute of Interior Designers Hyderabad, Regional Chapter 2014 to 2017. And during her tenure, initiated many signature events like Showcase Interior X, 15 local designer talks, instituting 2 gold medals for interior design students of JNFAU. Sonaji has also donned many roles in FICCI Flow committees since 2009, which culminated in her being chairperson of FICCI Ladies Organization Flow 2019-2020. On her personal work front, in recognition of her excellent designs, her projects have received many awards and nominations, such as the IIID MK Awards and the national level IIID AP Laticrate Award in Commercial and Residential Designs. ADF recognized her with an award in Amravati. She has been felicitated by TV5 for mentorship in interior design. She has designed numerous residential and commercial projects, such as the Hamstick Institute, CK Spa, 24 Letter Mantra, Manish Malhotra Store, to name a few. With many articles published in leading newspapers and magazines to her credit, our guest for the day, interior designer Ms. Sona Chatwani, is the best person to talk to us about guidelines to arranging the interior accessories at our home. As Sonaji believes, God is in accessories. We look forward to hearing and learning from you. Welcome to Sanskriti. Over to you, Vandana.
Can I request Pranav to play the AV, please? Ladies, now I present before you interior designer Miss Sona Chatwani. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Ushaji, for inviting me to Sanskritik Club. Happy Diwali and a Saal Mubarak. Being a Guju myself, so I know most of you are Gujaratis here in the club. So wishing you all a happy new year. I have this association with the Sanskritik Club for some time now. I've been following your activities and have been closely associated with the three of your past chairs, Vandana Shetty, Simran Chabaria, and Meera Goradia. They are very good friends of mine. So yeah, so I am in touch with your organization and I know what's happening around, and I congratulate each of you are doing a wonderful job. So when I was discussing the topics with Ushaji and I was asking what to take, I had actually given her and suggested her 6 titles, and she came up with this idea that I should take up these accessories. And then I came up with this title as we have an idiom by an architect, Mies van der Rohe, God is in details. So similarly, God is in accessorizing, you know. You spend so much of money in your house. You spend on the structure, you spend on the architecture. And by the time you're actually doing the coming to the accessorization, either you haven't stipulated a budget to it or you have exhausted with your money. So you kind of ignore that bit. So I feel that as a designer, you actually don't need a designer to have your accessories done. But if you must, then yes, you will take the help of the interior designer. And I'll tell you how I feel about exercising your house much later. Um, like you might have seen in my last project in the video that it wasn't accessorized. There was no nothing. It was more just furniture kept. Like I feel that the soul of the house lies a lot in the accessorizing. It defines you. It defines your taste. It defines your tradition. So it is very important that you need to identify the right accessories for your house. Now, since it was just before the lockdown time and I had completed that house in Trendset, so we couldn't accessorize. If I get a chance to share this place after I have done the accessorization, I would definitely like to share it with you guys to see what difference does this make once you are putting that soul in the house. So should we start with the PPT? So interior accessories are not just meant for aesthetics. It's also to be understood as a decorative, not only just a decorative item, but also has a functional quality to it. So it's not just bringing the stuff or Diwali pe gift mil gaya, you have to use it. There is a lot more happening to the accessories in the house than we actually imagine. So we have to bring the interest, the texture, the balance, and function to give the complete and wholesome look to the place. Next. So how do we use the accessories? What do they do? What do they actually do to your house? They kind of create a atmosphere, they create the ambience, adds aesthetics, and it gives you a personalized look. You know, it defines you as a person. And a lot of articles, a lot of accessories like mirrors add to that optical illusion. Sometimes we use the accessories to balance the palette and the color scheme. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, it defines the people who are staying there, their taste. I personally don't really think that you need to end up buying expensive accessories to do up your house. You can actually, if you don't have the budgets, you can actually use some heirlooms from your, store, or you can use an old antique sarees pallu to frame it up, or even as a matter of fact, your wedding card can go and you can frame it up, and those things add value and define the space that what kind of a person you are. Yeah. So we have identified for today, since Ushaji has given me time only 30 minutes, So I have chosen these 6 or 7 categories. We'll be talking on cushions, mirrors, paintings, plants, rugs, how to style your credenza and your center table. Cushions. So cushions are more than your comfort, fluffy accessory in on your sofas. It goes beyond that. I mean, you might be relating more to a cat fight with your kids are using the cushions. But I guess there's so much happening with the cushions, and how do we choose the cushions is something that we need to start off with. So let's say the size, the color, the palette, and the arrangement. Those are the 4 important things that we need to identify when we are doing the cushion arrangements. These either add value, or you might just dress down the look of the, on the sofa. Now, when you say defining the palette, it's basically analyzing the elements, textures in your room, putting together your cushions accordingly makes the most sense. Once the tone and palette of the space is defined, the task of selecting a cushion is much more simplified. So we are going to talk of some arrangements that can be done on the sofas. We have some visuals here so that you can identify with that. Now, these are double sides arrangement, which you can see that it's a simple arrangement, okay, where you are putting the plain cushions, and you can also see that the size of the cushions are 2 different sizes, like you can see that. So these are called double side arrangements. The printed one always comes in front, and not necessarily that it has to go on the ends. Take the next slide. A little change in placements also can add variations to the decor. This arrangement, the central cushion arrangements, gives a very structured look on the sofas. And then if you don't have something in tandem, or you don't have the even number or odd number of pieces, you can you easily use it and just clutter it in the central of the thing, and not necessarily go on either ends of the sofa. Yeah, if you are very concerned about having a very neat look, then this is a good arrangement, separate trio arrangement, where you have it, you can incorporate like 6 cushions on your couch with 3 on each side. The name itself says, separate trio arrangements. So you see just as little interest to the whole arrangement of the sofa. The next one is the balanced cushion arrangement. For those wanting to add a bit of drama by using various cushion sizes, I prefer this majorly for designing the sofas, because you want to play around with more, sizes on the sofas, and you need it for different purpose. So I like to play around with the balanced cushion arrangement. I think the next one, smaller. Get this. Okay. So you have various sizes here. Yeah, this is the one. You missed all of those. Okay, now the next one is the uneven cushion arrangement, where you can see the pairing on the 2 one side and the 3 on the other side with a single a very uneven thing. This you can actually leave it to your discretion to arrange this kind of arrangement. Next. Now, I particularly got this picture. Now, if you see the sofa here, it's a neutral one. And if you see the patterns of the cushions and the sizes, it's a striped and a printed and a very interesting pattern. Now, the best thing about these kind of arrangement is that tomorrow, with the different season, maybe in the summers, you might not want this kind of arrangement. You can just have some floral prints. So you can change the entire look of the sofa by just having the cushions change. I always, expect each of, I think, each house to have more than one set of cushion arrangement, cover arrangement. So yeah. So try playing around and dress down, dress up as per your mood and as per the occasion. If you have parties, then yes, you can get some bling on. But I particularly like this one so that you can understand how it can change the whole look to the place. There again, we have a very distributed arrangement on the sofas. While we were talking about sofa, I also thought maybe it's a good idea that a lot of us wants to have the bed cushion arrangements, especially designers go gaga about the bed covers, bed sheets, and the cushions. So we've worked out on certain arrangements for this. You again have various king size, queen size pillows, and it's always nicer to start designing from the headboard onwards. I am sure we all know what's a headboard. A minimum 2 feet headboard is a must for your bed, so we can just take it from that and start arranging. You select the color of the cushions as per your bed covers and the palette of your the color scheme of your bedroom. Yes. So this is one king bed arrangement. Like you can see the pillows, then you have your square pillows, then you have your rectangular and a bolster. So we have worked out on 4 options here. I like the 4th option on the right corner. I normally like to have that small little accent pillow, which has got that gray zigzag. So you see that there is a different, there's a bolster, then there's a plain gray, and then another bolster, and you see the arrangement also it's changing. The rare pillows are also changing as per the arrangements. I'm not going too much into detail. I have another 5 more topics to talk about, but I think the visuals are giving a lot for you to understand. And ladies, there's no hard and fast rule about this. You know, I am sure we know ourselves to carry very well when we go out. So I'm sure you know how to do up your bedroom and your bed very well too. But yes, it's a good idea that you want to have some arrangement, and it is always fancied by the designers. This is one of my favorite accessories. I think almost all my houses have mirrors, and I think why not? So yes, mirrors on the dining table side, reflecting the your table, your chandelier, your arrangement on the dining table, and now why do we use mirrors at all? One is for reflection, one is to add the spaces. When one is also for to improve light, and also it adds as an accent piece in your ambience. So this is a Venetian mirror. This is kept just next to the window. Now what's happening here is that it's reflecting and optimizing the natural light. So I would prefer something like this because it's actually not just there as a good piece to be looked at. Also, it is doing some functional, bringing in light to the room. Yeah, it always, as we know, doubles up your space. But majorly, when it's a very narrow room, try to have it there so it adds on to the volume of the space, and also speaks about you as a person when you enter, the kind of mirror you have, and doubling up the space in the narrow corridors of your entrance port. You might have seen a couple of my projects where I have used the grouping of the mirrors. Like, that is interesting. Again, like if you have some heirlooms, you can use that. Or just like, if you're traveling abroad or in India, you can just buy a mirror and just use it accordingly and group it together over the credenza. There's another piece of Venetian mirror, hand mirror, and it's a very contemporary setting, and they just use one accent piece of the mirror to highlight in that room. Which is basically hung. You can customize those Venetian mirrors. There are a lot of I always would advise, if you are into accessories, then try customizing. Don't go buy off the shelf. There are a lot of mirror people, or you can even order your cushions. Try to customize it to have a different look and be a little different and go as per your settings of the house, rather than just going and picking it up every time. So the do's and don'ts of decorating with mirrors. Do use large mirrors in tiny rooms, which is very obvious. Don't place mirrors willy-nilly around your home. As per Vastu, you're not supposed to be putting the mirrors on south and west wall. Although I didn't want to bring the Vastu factor here, but most of my clients, and even I don't recommend a lot on south and west, do make mirror a focal point. And then don't have too many things. If you're having an interesting mirror, then don't have paintings or other artifacts just to catch the attention. Maybe a little just to get little coordination, but not major anything happening around the focal point. Don't go overboard with mirrors in the kitchen and bedroom. It catches a lot of grime in the kitchen if you're trying to use. And bedroom, although I'm going to be a dampener on your romance, but ladies, again, as per Vastu, not recommended. But yeah, of course, your dresses and all, definitely. Don't use mirrors on ceilings. It's basically because of the weight, and also we don't want that kind of an optical illusion. We strongly recommend on the staircases, hallways, because it adds on mirrors your spaces. So use mirrors to your advantage. Some more pictures. This is on the hallway. I like this picture, and I like the way they have collected. I think it's over the time, so it's a beautiful, adding a lot of drama in the shower. Okay, now when we say paintings here, the next topic, we are looking at the arts and art and mural, artwork and mural paintings, not just painting. Now, a painting is very personal, I feel, like a fashion. You have to live with it. You are seeing that piece on your wall for a very long time. And a piece of art can either break or make your space. It actually defines your personal expression. I would never recommend something which I would like and my clients won't like, something that is very personal, and it has to go with the sentiments of the person who's staying there. And when you actually look for the paintings and when you're actually going out, try to understand where you want to pick up these paintings, which areas, which room. So it kind of gives you an idea of the spaces that you want to. Yeah, the focal, can you go back to the slide? Okay, next slide. So one of the places is, we don't normally have fireplace, but to your surprise, I should say that a lot of clients are actually asking us to do the fireplaces here. And we are doing a lot of electric fireplaces. So yes, one of these can go on the fireplace. Next. Like you can see in the picture. Next. So for smaller spaces, try to go for a group, even number of pieces, and go for a lighter, colored paintings to enhance the look. And for larger spaces, try to go for a big volume kind of a painting. Now, when you're doing a collage, I do a lot of collages. I do a lot of like 10 paintings. You can see in one of my projects, I have done Dasavtaram, Kundapalli Dasavtaram, where it was time because one or two toys was little higher, larger size compared to the others. So you basically put it on the floor, put the position of it. Since it was Dasavtaram, we had to go as per the chronological order. But otherwise, try to work around the larger piece and go about fixing up the other smaller ones around it. So try putting it either on the paper on the floor, or just understand, put the frame, and you can help, your carpenter can help you. All these things can be helped with, by your designer. But if you're not buying at the time when you have a designer, when you don't have a designer, then this is an easier way, is just put it on the floor, get the arrangement right, and just mirror it on the wall. Yeah. So the larger ones go below. Always keep the distance between the sofa and the frame, the first frame that's coming at the edge, at least minimum 6 inches. Next. Yeah. The art is meant for you to see, for you to enjoy. So it's must that it should be kept at the eye level. So if you're using 4 pictures, try thinking as a square, and leave depending upon the size of the painting, leave at least minimum 2 or 3 inches between the spaces between those paintings. Yeah, I wanted to say that. So picture placement on a wall and size matters. So say your sofa is around 6 feet, the painting that goes behind should be 50 to 75. That means if your sofa is 6 feet, you are going to consider anything between 3 feet to 4.5 feet. So what is right is, this is the size. So we're looking at between 3 to 4.5 feet. This is another example of putting the paintings together. I know this is not a part of the topics, but since I promote a lot of Indian paintings, Indian tribal paintings, I just wanted to bring your attention to it. These are not expensive. You can customize it. You can ask your local craftsman to do it. The first one being the charial on your left. Of course, everybody knows about Tanjore. Next. This is the Kerala mural. The next one is the miniature. It's not the Kalamkari painting, and then this is Pahad painting, Gol and Varli painting. These are the Kondapulli ties I was talking about. This is the Das Avtaram. I'm particularly very fond of this. And I also wanted to understand, a lot of them are into mask, including me. So some arrangements that we can look into it. If you have larger sizes like the one you are being shown in the picture, then yes, you can have the larger one in the center and go around placing the smaller ones around it. The smaller size ones are really well placed, the one in the gray. And if you have 3 or 4 masks, then you can just work it on an order. Plants placement in the interior. This has been actually very interesting lately for all of us. I think the COVID times, including me, the lockdown time has encouraged each of us to be closer to the greenery and bring a lot of greeneries to your home. But it's always a delight for the designers to work with the nature, whether it is stone or wood or driftwood or plants. But lately, I have been indulging a lot in the indoor plants, and I thought I wanted to add this as an accessory, because when you're actually thinking of using plants in your interiors, you have to treat it like a furniture, because you have to plan ahead that where is the plant going to come. You can always later on use those negative or dark spaces to put your plants, but if you really want it to be a highlighter, the big ones, and act like a sculptural pieces, then you should consider that. Now, do remember, guys, that don't go overboard with it, because they do give carbon dioxide too. So it's not just about oxygen. So have it in moderation, and try to work around it. kind of makes the place lively. And I think this has really cheered me up over this last 6 months. And I've been investing a lot on these indoor plants and learning a lot about it through YouTubes and all. I do recommend strongly that you should look up those YouTubes on there and learn more about plants if you're into it. Obviously, we all know it reduces stress, anxiety, clears, filters the air, you sleep better. Also helps you with increased productivity. Now, the kind of plants that I've been using, most of you must be getting it to as the indoor ones are the Monstera, the ZZ. I've been using a lot of succulents, the snake plant, the rubber plant, the ficus, the fiddlefig. So a lot of these have become a part of. I'm just seeing around while I'm talking to you because there's so many of them around me. And your golden photos, that is your money plant, which grows without too much of attention. So when you're bringing plants into your house, try to see that you get something that doesn't require water at a regular level. I'll give you one tip, which I have understood through my own thing, that thicker the leaf of a plant is, it will absorb a lot of water. So you don't really need to water it on a regular level. So yeah, that's about the plants. So the first step of adding plants in your design is where do you want to place it and what is the strongest and the weakest point. And now this is in terms regarding the light throw, where you have the most light in the room. And next. Don't overdo it. I sometimes have this habit that I go gaga and I kind of bring too many plants just to cheer me up. But yeah, watch out, don't clutter it. Large plants actually bring a lot of statement. I mean, this rubber plant and the ficus, they really add value to the room and they are like a sculpture. So do consider there are a lot of indoor plants in the Monsteras decosta. That is a very nice, interesting plant with those edged leaves, and they actually even sustain the colder climates too. And smaller plants look beautiful and versatile, and you can just put it on your bookshelves and your credenzas and your center tables, and it can go around everywhere. I just got you some pictures for you to understand some ideas where you can put these planters at your entrance, below the staircase. Now, these are negative spaces. The place, the one especially below the staircase, you tend to ignore it. And then where your major kachra starts piling up, the clutter. So try putting up some plants or around there. Try using fresh plants as much as possible. Look at this. I think it's called elephant ears and the palm. While you're looking at these plants, also keep an eye on your planters, the kind of planters we have been using. Next. How beautifully the ledge has been used to keep those plants. Probably these plants need a little more lighter. I can see the spider plant, peace lily, and I think there's a bonsai there, and rubber plant and the snake plant. Yeah, so these are good, and look at the different variations of planters, and also the sizes are the same. So try grouping in as per the sizes. Just don't try to place one higher and one lower. This is going to add an interest to your surroundings. Some more pictures just to get you an idea. A lot of these jute planters available in the market. Try ordering on Amazon. I've been ordering a lot of these online. You can find innumerable planters online. So you really don't have to. And if you have some brass, antique vessels from the past, try using that also. They also add an interesting feature into your interiors. Yeah, so this is pretty popular with the designers, where we are trying to bring the nature in, and it is not very claustrophobic in your little spaces of toilets, and the space starts looking larger. Just to give you an idea, a quick look on the planters, the shapes and all. Sometimes for some plants, sometimes for some plants, you need to have a tray if you overwater. So be careful about that. Don't just forget that you need some trays if you're using it indoors. Yeah, we have got you the list. I think everybody has become an expert in this lockdown period, but I still feel that this is one of the thing that's got very closest to my heart lately. So, as I just discussed the various indoor plants, I missed out talking about ferns. I don't know. I have not been very successful in sustaining this ferns in the Hyderabad scenario. Probably I have a south balcony and I'm getting too much of sun, I guess. So I'm not able to retain the Boston ferns. If you have any of you have a tip, you can share it with me rather. Yeah, another interesting thing is accessory is a rug carpets. And so apart from cushion, rug is another element that adds a comfortable and warm feeling to any room. A right cleared, right textured rug can can help you to style rugs. Rugs co-create the perfect atmosphere and you're used in hallways, areas with not too much attention, liven up home. You can create a visual connection in two rooms by using the same. Now take the pictures. Next. Now this picture is showing taking your eye from one room to the other. So this is what the length of the carpet can do to you. It can lead your eye from one place to the other if you're using it in the hallways and the corridors. Connect spaces, like I just told you, from one room to the other. And also if you're using the same palette, like you can see here, we have a dark pink maroonish carpet on one room and a similar palette in the other. So when you're actually seeing this carpet, you're also able to relate to the other room. So there is a connection. So that is what it does too. You know, it's not just binding you where your furniture is there, but it's actually leading your eye to the other rooms as well. One tip I'll give you that please try to keep your carpets grounded with the furniture. The legs of the furniture always have to come onto the rugs and carpets. Like you can see in this on this bed, below the bed, that you can your carpet is there. And next. Also, sometimes if you have a wall-to-wall carpet, you can actually layer it with another carpet also, a little smaller carpet, so that you can, add little more feature. And layering is also can you take to that last? Yeah, layering is also previous one. Double carpets. Next. Yeah. So you can see the two carpets here, which is layered one of the other. You can use it in this term if you have, but try to see that they belong to the same family rather than two different themes. Your eyes on this picture is focused onto the carpet. So a neutral sofa can really be highlighted with interesting carpet weaves. We do understand that it can act as a great piece of art, but also they are great sound absorbers. So it's always, I think we are in a drier climate and we don't really use a lot of these as hanging pieces, but up north, we see a lot of them using, or even most traditional houses in Hyderabad, Muslim houses, they use that as a hanging piece, a Persian carpets, which makes a really interesting feature of the house. Yeah, a little more peppy and modern. It's going well with the color scheme with those chairs. Next. Yeah, so now in such a large space, you get lost. So when you have that carpet, you are actually not only binding that little space of the furniture together, becomes more conversational. and it's put together and reinforces the areas with rugs. Next. Now, this kind of an arrangement defines your style. It's very personal, the way it's put up. So bring in these rugs to define your style. You really don't have to go for very expensive ones. Even if you look at the Bhadoi carpets in India, or even the the rugs that you get in Warangal, and there are always alternative cheaper options too. We don't always need to go for a lakh or two expensive carpets. You can always look for, and yes, a lot of synthetic carpets are in the market because of definitely dressed down prices. A little rug in the restrooms also accentuates the entire setup. Like, imagine that rug was not there and it's going to be so white. So this is adding a little interesting feature to the bathrooms. Yeah, I normally don't recommend these kind of carpets in our kind of lifestyles, unless like you are vacuuming it every single day. And it's adding a texture though, and it's an interesting feature. Yes, we have a huge sizes of carpets. I mean, you should see some of the carpets in the Salajing Museum if you're interested. They have some good carpets, and we also get good carpets in Hyderabad too. I thought I picked up these two things because I feel a lot is getting ignored on the center table of our living rooms and drawing rooms. So we picked up this center table styling. So there is a way, a knack of going around to work on your center tables. When you're actually trying to place the accessories on the center table, try thinking of a grid, a visual grid, a square, and try to place the accessories. Now, accessories can be your planter, your coffee table books, or something that is a part of your heirlooms, and you can keep changing. You don't have to have it the same thing over the months. During Diwali, I took out my silverware and put it on the, just to bring that festive look. So we need to keep changing the accessories over the time, and also do not have that cluttered look. Next. So now in this picture, you can see, if you understand, there is a balanced kind of an arrangement. As a designer, I see that there is a balanced look. You have your greenery, you have your fruits, a coffee table. So not only you're working on a grid, you also need to work on the visual weight. I didn't want to get it into a little more complicated, but visual weight is like, sometimes you have a lamp or you have a heavier item, when you are trying to balance it with maybe something more similar kind of an item. Like this flower vase is getting balanced with that tray of apples. Okay, so that is a visual weight we need to work on. Now, I told you earlier too, like the cushioning here has been, we can use this as per the seasons. Like, you can swap it with the seasonal. If it's a summer, you can change it with the greeners and other cooler cushion covers. Yeah, again, it's a beautiful dainty arrangement on the rectangular table. Again, the candle is getting balanced with another accessory in the crystal bowl, with a central piece. We'll keep shifting, just keep it once. No? Again, now the colors from the sofa pillows are being reflected on the tray there, and the orange. So you can just bring in a little palette of what you're using around onto your table to get that continuity, rather than just getting a total contrast. Although the pieces may be interesting, but may not go with your setup. That's one of my favorite things, greenery. Next. As I said earlier, you can get your collections. Don't fill it up so much that you don't have place to give coffees and teas to your guests. So instead of having a lot of items scattered around, try to use a tray and put those things on the tray so they have a very composed arrangement. Another thing that we picked up is styling credenza. So what is a credenza? It's basically a piece. Probably you are all very familiar with the word console. Credenza is majorly a sideboard or a dinner wagon that it's also referred as. It's meant for storage. Now, this is one of my favorite pieces, and I think most of the houses that I design, I try to bring in this because it's an interesting feature and you can actually play around with a lot of accessories on it. So this is one way. Again, the same formula is used that you try to balance it. And this picture shows here another credenza with another kind of a varied, how the different kind of pieces are being put together to give one perfect look. So there is a proper balance that is happening with the picture on the left hand and the picture on the credenza. I hope your eye is leading to both these pictures. This one is again, like you can see, the snake plant is balanced with the lamp light, and you have those little nitty-gritties in the center. Now these are all planned arrangements. They are not just thrown up on the credenza. So you're getting that kind of textures, you're getting those ceramic little vases and the lamps to get you that nice consolidated look. Yeah, another way is to distract from the TV. You have these sculpture pieces on the top, and you can see some artifacts. So kind of gives you that continuity of your eye leading up there. Layering with the texture of the walls, the little smaller pieces, and the little greens that are going with that very classical look. The proportions. So when you're looking to buy the accessories, you always need to budget for accessories when pulling together the design scheme. There should never be an afterthought. If you budget from the outset, you'll ensure that you won't end up spending all your hard-earned money on furniture and decorating, leaving a bland and a boring space. This is my favorite. Tell your own story. Don't let the designer, I know I being the designer, I'm telling this, don't let the designer dominate their taste. It should be your story. It should be your signature. It should look like your house and not something that a designer has thought in. It should reflect as your house, which is, I mean, I see a lot of people dependent so much on the designer, which is good, but at the same time, I try to bring out what they like. So you have to see that what you like has to go on the walls, and it should not be just one-time purchase. It should be something that reminds you of your memories when you went up north, or you went up northeast, or you went overseas, you bought something from Venice. So try to have something like memories. Don't have to fill up the wall the moment you're moving in. Aaj grah pravesh hua and pura ghar you have to do it with the accessories. Not necessary. Leave some walls bare. keep it for your memories, and try to have things for at a later stage. Don't have to fill up at one go. I haven't finished the last one. Choose accessories that not only reflect your spaces, but also your style and taste. By doing so, you're making your home unique and individual to you. Sometimes you need to group the accessories rather than spreading it out so much that it loses essence. And try not to clutter your spaces with meaningless objects. If you feel no love or use for an object, get rid of it, including some of your Diwali gifts, gifted to some friend. Don't try to use it because and you have to use it and it will not go in your house, which we always do, even including me. We end up doing that. We love the person so much that you don't want to give the gift away. So, but as it says, it will make you feel unhappy in the long run. Don't choose accessories too same or unified, otherwise you end up being giving a country then a look which is unnatural. Mix it up and you'll create more interest. Try not to overwhelm small spaces with large objects, accessories, otherwise you will find your room will look very cramped. Okay, we're done with this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That was a wonderful and mind-blowing experience and talk on decorating our homes.
Vandana, will you stop telling me ma'am, please?
No. Today. Ladies, can we give one big round of applause for Ms. Sona Chatwani?
Thank you. Thanks, yeah. Thank you.
We have few questions from our members for you, Ms. Sona Chatwani, today. The first question is from Ms. Parul Modi. She's asking, is it in the scope of services of interior designer to accessorize the house when you hire them?
Yes, Parul, it is a scope of design. I think most when you are actually giving the house to the designer for doing up the house, accessorizing is a part of it. Okay, but I still suggest that you should keep some of these things to yourself and get your memories into the house rather than just going and buying off the shelf in various art stores, And even if you need to go customize it, go to the weavers, go to the craftsmen and try to customize it. And yes, it is a scope yeah.
Okay. Charu wants to know, what do you suggest using accessories as per current trend?
I am not a great fan of using trendy stuff. I keep an eye, I'm aware of what's happening around, but for the heck of fashions, no, because your walls are going to be there, your paintings are going to be there, the fashion is going to go away. So don't try to just, try to live with something that you might want to live there with for life. Like, that's why keep investing in the right paintings, go keep visiting a lot of galleries, I would suggest. And explore what you want before you end up buying 4 or 5 lakhs ka painting at your house. Go check the galleries and see how it works for you.
Okay. There's a very interesting question. Vandana Pai wants to know, what is the purpose of credenza?
Yeah, I told you, Vandana. Hi, how are you? Credenza basically are is meant for storage. Like you have your dinner wagon. Now there are a lot of definitions of credenza. Some go with the skirting all the way to the floor. Some have those dainty legs. Okay, but the idea is for storage. And then yes, it gets complemented with a mirror or a nice painting. Majorly used at your hallways or your dining table side. Helps you additional when you have guests and all. You can use it more efficiently. Also helps you to keep your silvers if you have drawers there.
Yes. Hemlata ji wants to know, what is the best type of planters for interior plants?
You can use ceramic or you can use the plastic ones. Now, ceramic is good because it gives you a good look and adds value to the house, and it's breathable product. Okay, so you have to keep watering in case you're using ceramic. Plastic, on the other hand, is easy to maintain. And if you tend to forget, or if you're a working lady, then it's a good idea to have a plastic ones. The fiber ones are really good. They are a little expensive. They all keep coming from Pune, and you don't really need to add water very. You can spare. I mean, use it efficiently that way. Yeah. So I think these
Sona,
two, and of course.
yeah. Sorry, Sona, to interrupt you. I had one another question. It's with regarding the planters also, that sometimes we use these cane baskets and we put the pot inside the basket.
Yes.
So and also in the brass, the olden type of brass containers. So we put the plant in the with the pot.
That's the way. That's the way it has to, because sometimes it has to go out in the sun, right?
Exactly.
So yes. So every plant. See, even if you're going to put the ceramic one, if you have a mud pot, even if you're going to put it in that, the quality is going to be the same, right? It's still going to be breathable.
Yes.
It's just covering it from outside.
It's easier to maintain. It's easier
Yes.
to maintain.
Yes.
Right.
Nice
Thank
to see
you,
you, Lata ji.
Nice, Sona. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful talk. God bless you.
I hope so. Thank you.
Thanks, Vandana. Thank you.
There is one very interesting question. I think all ladies might want to know. How do we design our dining table every day?
Yes. Yeah, normally we actually give importance only when you have guests coming up and all. But on a regular level, you can use a nice candle stand and planters. I have been using a lot of planters with a central point. I have actually kept a succulents in the center. And I also sometimes put a nice table stand, a candle stand there. Yeah, so it gives you that complete look, and you don't have to shift it in case, and should not occupy too much of space, and also don't have two higher ones in case there's a conversation going on. It should not disturb the other person, so you should still be able to see the eye of the other person.
Okay. Can we have that long runners also sometimes in between the?
Yes, that goes without saying. Yes, I'm very fond of it too.
Okay, the last question is how much of space should we leave between the pictures, like when we frame our pictures on the wall?
Yes, very good question. Now, this is basically depending upon the size of the paintings. Like if you're having a medium painting, like say a 2 by 2 feet ka painting, then a 2 to 3 inches, you can use it like this. 2 to 3 inches is good enough. Okay. If you have a smaller 6 by 6 or 8 by 8, then maybe 1.5 inches. Okay. And if you have two large paintings of 3 feet or 4 feet size, then probably 4 to 6 inches also is a good idea. So depending, don't try to, if it's a larger painting, you definitely need to give that breathing space between two frames.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sona. That was very well answered questions, and I think they are all
I hope so.
to our satisfaction. Yes, ladies, this time we have Lady Sanskriti Prize, something different. Now that Ms. Sona Chetwani has shared her decorative tips with you, you can pick up a small corner in your house, any small cozy corner, decorate it with your way, click a picture and send us within 7 days, say by 30th November by 4 p.m. All photographs should be sent to Ms. Meera Goradia or myself, Vandana Shetty. It can be a daylight picture or a picture taken in the artificial light. The prize will reach to you, to your home after Ms. Sona Chetwani will see all the entries. Yeah, and that was very nice talk, Sona. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
I kindly request Ms. Meera Goradia to give a vote of thanks.
Dear members, it's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of Sanskriti, I extend a hearty thanks to our chief guest, Ms. Sona Chetwani, who spared time from her busy schedule to grace the meeting. Ma'am, today we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts and ideas, and this will surely help us in the future. I am thankful to Pranay for helping us conduct the meeting without any glitch and lending his time and support. And our sincere gratitude to all the members for your rock solid support system and encouragement. Thank you so much for being a part of this event. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, members. Please block your date for December 15th for an exciting super meeting, and see you all. Stay safe and take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.